Bitcoin is changing the world, and any Bitcoin believer will rattle off a long list of reasons why cryptocurrency is the future of money. They're right. Bitcoin is a global currency that addresses modern day privacy concerns, elevates the unbanked, and shifts the economic power from big banks and governments back to the people. On top of that, here are the top 10 reasons why Bitcoin is changing the future and why now is the time to buy it. Number 1, it's a new asset class. Asset classes, or areas of investment, have traditionally included stocks, bonds, and more recently, entities such as real estate. Now, cryptocurrency has been added to that list, with Bitcoin gaining momentum and recognition as a completely new asset class. With companies such as Bakkt bringing institutional investing in Bitcoin to the mainstream, it will likely show up in pension funds and on the recommendations of investment advisors in the near future. Number 2, it performs independently of other markets. When the stock market drops, Bitcoin remains unscathed. But that may be a blanket statement, but it's not an inaccurate one. Of course, that shouldn't come as a huge surprise. After all, the very creation of Bitcoin came as a response to the stock market crash, the bursting of the real estate bubble, and an overall distrust in traditional money systems. But for today's investors, that separation correlates to better risk management and a more diverse portfolio. Number 3, it's not subject to the same inflation and devaluation as fiat. What will your salary buy next year, or even next week? If you live in Venezuela, Sudan, Argentina, or Zimbabwe, the answer is not much, thanks to hyperinflation. But the devaluation of fiat currency is a global problem. Countries in Eastern Europe have an inflation rate of over 3%, and even the United States has an inflation rate above the 2% target goal set by the US Federal Reserve. Due to the finite nature of Bitcoin, only a certain number of coins can ever be issued, meaning the currency manages to avoid that problem. Number 4, it's a great store of value. Is Bitcoin digital gold? We say it's better. The cryptocurrency has often been compared to gold with good reason. It's a universal currency that's not controlled by any one government or entity. It's difficult to mine, and it exists in a limited supply, which increases its value. And because, as we covered above, it's not subject to the same inflation as fiat currency, it also doesn't depreciate, making it an excellent store of value. What makes it better? Unlike gold, Bitcoin is digital. Whereas gold becomes cumbersome in large quantities, Bitcoin is easy to keep and transport in both small and large amounts. A quarter of a Bitcoin and 25 Bitcoin can be stored in the same cryptocurrency wallet. Number 5, it can't be confiscated. In many countries, your fiat currency can be frozen by the bank, or your assets can be seized by the government with little to no warning. Cryptocurrency is different. It's not controlled by a central bank or government, which means that if you hold your Bitcoin wallet keys, only you have access to and control over your money, with no government intervention possible. Number 6, the infrastructure around it is in hypergrowth. Bitcoin is no longer just the dream of a group of economic anarchists. As the benefits of blockchain technology continue to prove themselves, companies such as Visa, Fidelity, and Square are finding ways to integrate Bitcoin solutions into their products. And even the big banks themselves, including Bank of America and Wells Fargo, are experimenting with blockchain, driving the infrastructure into hypergrowth. Number 7, it's called the honey badger for a reason. Bitcoin isn't controlled by any one entity, making it impossible to restrain. It was created and is controlled by a peer network, with no one government or entity at the helm. Because it's universal, government bans, regulations, and restrictions can only go so far. And at the end of the day, Bitcoin will still perform like the force of nature that it is. It's what makes Bitcoin a new financial system, one that's by the people and for the people, and the key to economic freedom. Number 8, it will make you question what you already know. When was the last time you thought about where your money comes from, or about who controls its value? If you're like most of us, not recently. The existence of money in its current form is something we take for granted, whether we have a lot of it or not. But cryptocurrency upends our assumptions, showing us that governments don't have to be in control of our funds, that money doesn't have to be stored in banks, and that currency can be immune to hyperinflation and corruption. Number 9, it will make you want to know more. Fiat currency is old news. And once our assumptions about how money works are turned over, we can't help but be driven by a hunger for knowledge. Bitcoin will make you ask why we've been willing to settle for fiat until now. It'll make you want to understand how the blockchain works and why a financial revolution is necessary. And it's important to know these things. After all, Bitcoin is the money of the future. And number 10, it will most likely appreciate in value. The price fluctuations that Bitcoin has experienced in the last few years leaves many people saying that Bitcoin is too volatile to count on. But while price volatility has certainly led to dramatic spikes and drops, most notably in 2017-2018, Bitcoin's overall arc has followed an undeniably upward trajectory. In other words, if you hold it long enough, the probability of appreciation in value is higher than any other asset class in the past 11 years. These are our top 10 reasons why Bitcoin is changing the future. Did we miss any other reasons? Let us know in the comments section below.